Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Fix Payday binding. That's right, their price point entry level binding. I rode this binding at Arapahoe Basin on an overcast day with flat light. You had firm fast corduroy, some snow falling at times. You could find leftover POW if you knew where to look, and I rode it on my Ride Shadow Band snowboard with my K2 Thraxis boots. So when it comes to binding adjustability on this binding, there's not much, which is fine for what it is. You have a flip tab on the toe, you have a flip tab on the heel and the toe, so you pop it up. You can slide the strap up or down to center it on your boot. The toe strap is on a push pin system, so push down, slide back, slide forward, pull back up, and it will lock you in. And it also fixes high back rotation, so you can actually rotate your high back, which is weird because there is no forward lean on this binding. Straps. So when it comes to the straps, you got an old school stitch strap that's a multi-piece design. That is actually going to give you padding in there. So if you were hoping that it would really contour around the boot, it's not. It's going to sit more on top of that instep, and it will fit a more narrow boot better than something that's really chonky. I noticed that, but I didn't get any hot spots with it. One thing to note though with a stitch strap like this is that it will break in over time. There's nothing wrong with that. Just expect it to have a little give, and then all you're going to do is just have to readjust it to recenter it. With the toe strap, it's the same on all their bindings, near as I can tell, and this is going to fit a pointed toe boot better than a more boxy one. It will stretch, so you can run it over the toe or over the top. TC likes to run them over the top. It's very minimal. You're going to be able to push into it. Now with the thicker strap, there's a slight delay in the response when you're driving into it. You are going to notice that it doesn't just give you automatic response. It's kind of like a clutch. You have to sort of engage it before you'll get that toe and heel response. There is a good amount of lateral play in this strap as well. These climbed well. The one finger quick release, it does their thing. One thing to note, they are sticky right out the box, but they will break in as the day goes on and the more you use them. I didn't notice any real play in them. They didn't prematurely release. They're very meat and potatoes, but they do their job. If you're watching this review, you're probably a beginner, which means you need some guidance. So why don't you click like, you know you want to, that helps us. Then you're gonna click subscribe and click the bell to get those notifications so that we can dial you in on more gear. You know you wanna do it, so go do it. Come on, what do you have to lose? Oh no, you're gonna fall in love with the cult of snowboarding? There's worse things in life. This is a soft flexing high back. There is a ton of give on it. Even though it's got a good shape to it, you can really feel it give when you're driving to the inside or the outside of it. One thing to note, no forward lean adjustment. So you have a few degrees of natural lean in there, but there is no actual adjustment to it. This will reduce weight if that's something you absolutely care about. I don't know why you weight weenies care about that stuff. It's not like you're split boarding and need it, but it's gone. It's also one less thing that could go wrong and one less thing you have to adjust. Overall, high back does what it needs to do. It's just soft. As this binding does have a little bit of a bigger base tray and a bigger disc, you have a more rigid flex underfoot. I would say that it's about middle of the road, but when you move up to the straps, there's a lot more lateral play in there, so you can actually feel that. That's slightly below middle of the road. Now, is it the stiffest binding out there? No. Is it the softest binding I've ridden? No. It's a good entry-level binding that will allow you to progress with this flex. Like I said earlier, if you drive into the heel strap, it kind of feels like a clutch. You sort of have to engage it before you get that response. So it may be a little sluggish getting edge to edge in it. Once you get used to that, you're not gonna notice it though. So this is a lively binding and you're gonna feel some chatter underneath. It's not the dampest thing out there. With that said, I have ridden more lively bindings from Fix than this. And at the end of the day, I didn't have any foot fatigue, which is nice, especially for it being on a price point. So it's not gonna just drain the soul out of the balls of your feet and make you hate life. You're actually going to be able to charge at times through chopped out chunder and not worry about it. Rider in mind, the price conscious rider or someone that's just starting out that wants a meat and potatoes binding. If you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. When you ride a binding at this price point and this flex, two things happen. It's either gonna suck for you and you're gonna realize it's not the binding that's meant for you, it's meant for someone starting out, or it's gonna surprise you. With this, It surprised me. Yeah, you don't have a ton of adjustability with it. Yeah, it's not the stiffest thing out there, but it was a good responsive binding for starting out on, in my opinion. It held its own. It was just good. Like, I didn't have to worry about it. It did what I needed it to do, and that's all you can really ask. And when you're starting out, having less adjustability is not a bad thing. It just means that, you know, you're gonna set your straps, you maybe rotate your high back if you're a psychopath, and push that toe strap down just to center it over the boot with the push pin system, and you're gonna go on your way, and you're not gonna have to worry about it. It's less things that could loosen on you over time. Comparable bindings, the Ride C4, the Bataleon Fly, the Nitro Rambler. This has been my review of the Fix Payday. What did you think of it? Are you looking at it? Are you looking at some of the comparable bindings? Why don't you go check out one of the reviews for those as well? Get yourself down a YouTube hole.